like to take a moment to introduce you to a very important person who was involved in real estate for a long time here in our beloved Chicagoland, the one and only DanCzuba.
So the purpose of today's get-together is for us to talk about how we, as a group, are more educated than the average real estate broker. I often tell you that. You guys know more than most people because we do a lot of training. Today we were talking about, just so you know, today we were discussing what the difference between a 5% down and a 10% down and why for condominiums, okay? And while I didn't have the exact answer to it, we were able to direct, I think, Jasmine, did you speak to the lender? Did they get back to you yet?
I'm still waiting for her to get back.
All right, but it has to do with the number of people that rent investors in the complex as compared to ownership, and that affects what loans are available for that program. But that's not what I was planning to talk about today. I actually prepared something for my meeting this morning, and some of these, you guys probably heard a lot of this. Martha, by the way, has been around the longest.
And I can't see Martha.
Yeah, if Martha could scoot in a little bit more.
All right,
If
there you
it's
go.
possible.
There we go.
There we go.
Martha,
Hi.
Hi, Martha.
she only
Thank
looks
you.
like she's 29, but she's a 20-year veteran plus, right? 25?
I started when I was born, so.
Wow, okay. And aren't these girls all voted? All these guys are voted. The only one that really isn't very photogenic in this picture is me. So you guys all make me look good.
The way it should be, Dan.
That's right. Okay. All right, real good. Well, is that a fair shake for you guys? I mean, if I just review this material that we're talking about, that I was talking about earlier?
Well, may I interject for 1 second?
Yeah, please do.
So, to your agents, we had interviewed Dan before, and we talked about, I am a licensed broker also, and I just got through with my CE. And Dan's idea to begin with was about definitions, because so many people think things that are just absolutely wrong, and you get in trouble that way. And so in thinking and talking about that, he told me how he trains his people. And there's two particular things that I was pretty amazed at, to be honest. I asked him if he would bring his people on, one or more. I think he took the more. And if you would be willing to, show how that training was put into action in the field. Okay. So that's how we started. I hope that set the stage a little.
Well, it did. And Theo, why don't you give yourself an introduction so everybody knows who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Theo Chino. I started off in the mortgage industry over 30 years ago now, and worked for the MLS for about 1.5 years. Learned a lot, but then I learned too much when I met Joe Cortana. And now we've kind of gone down this other path here. My background previous to the MLS was in learning and development. So this is very appropriate that I'm here watching how you guys do this, how you transfer knowledge and make it stick. I'm really looking for the who, like who's affected by this information being disseminated, who needs this information, the why you need it, the when, the how, the where, the what's, right? That's probably all going to be in there in different spots. But that's what I would do is I would mentor trainers to transfer knowledge more effectively in the right amount of detail to the audience members. So if you ever needed any coaching like that, like just how to present better or whatever, I'm sure Dan's a very good speaker. I mean, I just noticed, I always keep an ear and an eye out for how speakers handle themselves. Dan is not tripping over his words. He doesn't have a lot of fillers. Watch how he speaks. Watch how he looks at you when he talks. This is all instinctual at this point, right? Maybe he had it before he started. Maybe he didn't. But this is all part of it. Besides the specifics of the information, watch how Dan carries himself. And you notice he just likes to just be like, oh, I'm just Dan. I'm nobody, right? But he is, he's a really good resource. I wish I had worked with someone like Dan when I was newer in the mortgage business 30 years ago, right? But that's me. I'm the chief solutions architect now for It's Our Place and the Real Estate Channel Live. So now you have a place to advertise, and it's small now, but this is the time to get in. So that's my 10 cents.
Okay, so it's kind of a startup for you guys to understand. I met Theo first on through MRED, which I'm a shareholder, and through the course of actions and discussion, Theo and Joe knew each other already, and Joe's very passionate about the concerns of where the real estate is going, direction of real estate. I want to bring something up. I had a young lady in here who is not doing as well as she'd like to in the company she's working for. This is her second company in 3 years that she's working for. The last one she was working with, the first one, it had initials of, okay, and I won't say, but they had promised her a bunch of training and assistance, and she stuck around for 2 years and didn't get it, okay? And she wasn't earning a living. She wasn't making money. This person, literally, this is what really caught my eye. You know, you catch eyes on different things. She sat an open house every Sunday for 1 year. Now, I'm sure she missed a few here and there. However, how many of us have sat an open house more than two times in a row? Not many. Okay, I know that for a fact.
Mhm.
So that tells me that this person was truly committed to doing something. Okay, and yet she was getting nowhere fast. So she left that company. She was very frustrated, and that's one of the top-rated companies in the industry. Went to another company whose name has to do with pass. Okay, and she pointed out that they're very tech savvy, very tech savvy. However, she's still finding that they made a lot of promises to train her, and she's not being trained. Okay, so one of the very first basic training items that I have with you guys from the very start, and I'm gonna exclude you because you've said it twice today, and she nailed it. She really did nail it. But one of the first things that I try to get across, and this is very interesting because when I asked this person this question that was in earlier today, she couldn't answer the question. Okay, and the question I have, and I'll ask anybody, one of you three, just we'll hold up, and if I need you, then I'll ask.
Okay.
Okay. Raise your hand. No. Okay. What is the very most important thing that if you're going to work with a buyer, what is the very most important thing you need to know about that buyer before you go forward in helping them out? What is the most important thing? Anybody want to raise their hand and say, I do? Norma, Miss Norma, by the way. And Norma here, which I'm very proud of, she has the honors. I have the honor to think her first closing, she was giving birth to her 5th kid. And it was a buy and sell, right? It was a buy and sell. And the client, the seller, asked her to represent her in selling the place to who? Who did you sell it to?
To her buyer.
To her buyer, her tenant buyer. The tenant was living in the house, and they came to Norma and said, listen, we would like you to handle this and sell it to our buyer, to our tenant. To me, that was incredible. That's a real statement of trust and respect that they had for Norma. And she's picked up, that was her very first transaction. We went to closing, took care of it for you, didn't we? And we brought you that big check. We went, oh my God, here's this great big check over here, take it. But, you know,
And I
she's
gave you the baby.
there you go. And so we have the child right here, sitting in this chair now. Child is what, 3 years old now? He's almost 4 years old. Okay. So again, these are really special people to me, obviously.